my dear friends. Today, I, Pranav,
and myself Rahul Javkar are going to share some information on some basic rules which have to be followed while using social media. So let's begin. Before you post something online, perform a publicity test on it. This means that a person's actions manifest essential elements of his or her character. What we do reveals who we are. Our actions provide others with a window through which they can view our souls. The rule is, if your post or message is not acceptable for face-to-face conversation over the telephone or another medium, then it is not acceptable for a social networking site too. Which means, if we feel the post or message we upload is appropriate, only then it should be posted. Safety and privacy tips for social media networking. The internet is open to a worldwide audience. When using social media channels, ask yourself, did I set my privacy settings to help control who can look at my profile, personal information and photos? You can limit access somewhat but not completely, and you have no control over what someone else may share. How much information do I want strangers to know about me? If I give them my cell phone number, address, email, class schedule, a list of possessions such as my CD collections, how might they use it? With whom they can share it? Not everyone will respect your personal or physical space. Is the image I am projecting by my materials and photos the one I want my current and future friends to know by me? What does my profile say to potential faculty members, advisors, future graduates, school, internship interviewers, potential employers, neighbors, family, parents? Which door am I opening and which am I closing? What if I change my mind about what I post? For instance, what if I want to remove something I posted as a joke or make a point? Have I read the social networking site's privacy and coaching statements? Removing material from network coaches can be difficult. Posting materials can remain accessible on the internet until you completed the prescribed process for removing information from the coaching technology of one or more multiple potentially unknown search engines. Have I asked permissions to post someone else's images or informations? Am I infringing on their privacy? Could I be hurting someone? Could I subject to libel suits? Am I violating network use policy of HIPAA privacy rules? Does my equipment have spyware and virus protections installed? Some sites collect personal information to spam you. Others contain links that can affect your equipment and viruses that potentially can destroy data and infect others with whom you communicate. Remember to back up your work on an external source in case of destructive attacks.
most people who maintain social media sites welcome comments. It builds credibility and community. You should prefer to review and approve comments before posting them on your site. This means that you should be careful of what you're texting to others. This way, you will ensure the quality of comments, but this also needs that you should respond in a timely way to comments so that comments posting happens in a stipulated amount of time and is not delayed for unnecessarily long period, which means that you should not consume others' time by texting. Good communication develops healthy relationships, whether it's personal, connection or in business. The way people communicate can tell you a lot about them, especially with a simple message. You can sense the nature of conversation, the intent, and on a few occasions, the point of disconnection. Is replying necessary? Yes. Replying is very much necessary in a social media. Suppose if you neglect a person by not answering to his or her replies, then it would create a negative impact and leads to impression of not communicating to you. Ways to acknowledge messages. The basic guidelines that are to be used to answer a message consist of few factors. So, here are some suggestions to acknowledge messages properly. 1. Reply to your sender in a timely fashion. Timing is everything when it comes to communication. Nobody likes waiting an unreasonable amount of time for a reply. Be considerate of other people's time if you are late in replying back. Address that at the beginning of your message. Avoid using one-liners. It is better to reply with a full sentence, highlighting the contents of the sender's message. Be mindful and keep your reply on point and simple. Communicate to others in a reasonable way. The types of messages you will receive are usually casual or general, professional or personal. It is essential that you find the sender, the one that matches your sender. This will set the tone for your conversation and give a proper impression on who you are.
Sometimes, school or college students talk in slang or use some abusive words which they find okay within their small group. But these things must not be posted online. Don't use slangs, personal insults, obscenity, or engage in any conduct that would not be acceptable in your connected world. People have a habit of behaving differently online than they do in person. The large audience is invisible, so many people feel protected by their screens. This can be a positive thing, like someone feeling more confident to open up and be themselves. But sometimes people will misuse social networks to bully others. Do you respect yourself online? If you don't respect yourself, you make it open season for everyone else to disrespect you. This is clear line between making the occasional joke at your expense and becoming a joke. The first person you need to respect from is yourself. It is very hard to respect anyone else if you do not respect yourself. This means listening to how you feel and respecting those feelings, being honest with yourself, showing yourself kindness, and not cutting yourself down. This is not self-delusion or self-aggrandizement. It is honestly knowing and valuing yourself with both your faults and merits. Posting online is instant, public, and more often than not, permanent. Once you post, you lose all control of what happens to it. It only takes one friend to share it on their own profiles for it to be completely out of your hands. Too often, young people are finding their posts coming back to haunt them. Universities, future employers, and school can easily find a trial of your online identity. If they don't like what they see, it can mean a serious loss of opportunity. You can even find yourself in trouble with the police. Social media environments such as Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat are the hangout spots for the choice of teens. Nowadays, reading and posting have become favorite activities for young youth. Social media also presents special communication challenges where mistakes and potential harm can have more severe and long-lasting impacts than in offline spaces. Young teens should have strategies and knowledge which will help them respect themselves, respect others, and respect the space when using social media. If your posts are appropriate, not too personal, and non-controversial, your online presence will show that you respect yourself and others. Overhearing doesn't usually place us in the most favorable lights, and there are some topics that we simply don't need to discuss our opinion on. The bottom line: if you are careful about what you post on social media, you shouldn't run into any problems online.
Respect others' sentiment. You should always respect others' privacy and be considerate for topics that may be considered sensitive, such as politics and religion, which means that it is not a good manners to check others' privacy because it is not a humanly act. Thus, you should never post anything that may compromise someone's privacy or hurt someone's sentiment, meaning that you shouldn't be posting privacy of someone else. In today's day and age, social media is everywhere. We go to store and we see QR codes to add our favorite brands. We apply for jobs, share videos with our friends, and etc. Being constantly plugged in has many benefits. We are more connected and aware because of our social media use. On the other hand, social networks can get us into a sticky situation. People have been fired from jobs because of inappropriate pictures that have cropped up from their Facebook profile and tasteless remarks made on Twitter. So here are some tips to ensure that your social use doesn't get you into unfortunate situations. Keep it professional. A good rule of thumb is that if you wouldn't want your boss to see, you shouldn't post it. This doesn't mean that you have to wear professional clothing in your pictures, but use your judgment. Talking negatively about your job, for example, isn't something to post for others to see. Avoid controversial topics. Try to avoid topics that can offend people. Generally speaking, politics are controversial and there is bound to be at least one person that takes offense or disagrees with a political comment you may make. The easiest way to fix this problem is to avoid it altogether. Remember that what you post is permanent. If you think there is the slightest chance that you might eventually regret what you post, don't post it. You don't want something that you posted years ago to come back to haunt you, or worse, to prevent you from getting a job. Be careful not to overshare. Social media is yours to do what you please with it and to share as much of your life as you so choose. There is, however, such a thing as oversharing. Some personal details are fine, but getting too personal probably isn't a great idea. Think before you type. Reflecting on what you write before you post, it can save a lot of trouble. Just like you would go over an essay or an email, reread what you type. Sometimes our typed words come across much differently than our spoken words, and we don't want others to get the wrong idea.